Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time with his good friend, Mr. Stephen Dow. How you doing, sir?
I'm fantastic. And yourself?
I'm doing great. Do me a favor, get that marketing thing out of the way.
Thank you so much. Although I work very happily for Velocity Mortgage Capital, all the ideas and topics discussed on this channel are that of my own. So let's get it going.
There you go. Hey, what I want to talk about here is seller financing. Seller financing really, to me, is kind of a two-step function. Step one is you, the investor, understanding it. You, the investor, understanding how to pitch it. And then step two is finding a seller who might be in a position to say yes. So we know now that more and more one rental at a time fans are working with you to get seller financing, the 50-40-10 or the 70-20-10 or whatever it is. It's working, which is awesome. But it's been a process to get here. So let's talk about understanding what seller financing is, what it isn't, how to pitch it, because there really is a lot of lessons. I'm sure you've had some conversations. I know we have a bonus section in the course that teaches and talks about it with a CPA, which is awesome. But let's just talk about the process of pitching it, because you probably get a lot of questions, maybe even get asked to facilitate, which is kind of crazy. But let's talk about it.
Yeah, I think in a lot of cases, just people just don't understand the full process, because they're assuming that, we facilitate the whole structure, but we're just offering the opportunity for you to be able to structure it that way, as far as we allow the seller to carry, a second to total combined loan to value, meaning what we can do from our first loan combined with the seller carrying the second to a total of 90% of whatever the purchase price is. And then you come in with the remaining 10% down. As far as the negotiations on the second with the seller, that's typically entirely up to you and how you can present the offer and basically, negotiating the rate. Normal conversation as far as negotiating. You start low, they probably start high. You end up somewhere in the middle, but you just got to know, a lot of just do the work, do your homework.
Yeah.
Because then you can know a lot about, the property, how long it's been on the market, days on market, it fell out, all this
equity
stuff.
positions. Yeah.
Correct. So from that standpoint, I think, quote unquote, like your hat says, do the work. Once you gather up the right data, you could then make the most effective, presentation to the seller. So it's a process for sure, but the ones that are doing the work, they're really benefiting for sure.
Yeah. And again, I mean, we have one example of a deal that's going through now where they negotiated, I believe, a 20% owner carry as a second position,
seller,
and then got a 1% interest only for 10 years. How cool is that?
Well, yeah, I would imagine it's pretty darn cool, because again, with 90% leverage, you're probably, they did the work. It's cash flowing. So
of course,
from day one, with 10% down, you know what I mean?
That's a pretty good yield, right? Yield is a very simple formula we'll look at in video.
Numbers don't lie, and that's really, again, doing the work will allow you to not be as emotional in these types of transactions, because sometimes people get so emotional that they I don't know about this. Well, just crunch the numbers. If the numbers are where they're at, then you pull the trigger.
Yeah, let's just go over kind of 3 bullet points I want everybody to understand. This is all in the course, but let's just hit them here. And again, I worked with the CPA. His name's Bob Langworthy from Maine. Bean Counters is his company. Maine is in the state, so it has an E on it. Excuse me. So the first one is understanding how the seller benefits from taxes, right? Simply said, as you know, they're going to sell a property that they own for 30 years. They depreciate it to zero. They really pay taxes in 2 ways if they sell it cash. They pay taxes on the gain, right? And they also do what's called depreciation recapture. If they do a seller second at, say, 40% or 50%, or heaven forbid, they carry the whole thing at 90%, that's called an installment loan. And that is treated different. Your year one taxes fall through the floor. And Bob Langworthy goes through lots of examples in the course. But that's the first thing, right? The seller benefits from spreading their tax burden over years, basically the length of the note, which is pretty cool. Does that make sense?
Oh, it totally makes sense. Again, I'm relying on your expertise, although I might have the, ethnicity to assume that I would probably be, good with the accounting, lingo. But I'll defer to my Caucasian brother at this time.
There you go. There you go. Well, so that's the first thing. Again, this is why seller financing is a process. You, the investor, must invest the time to get comfortable with all this. If you are talking to an owner of a fourplex and you are hemming and hawing and not sure, they are going to run away.
Right.
But if you go through the course, earn the vocabulary, understand what's going on, and pitch this, depreciation recapture, delaying, spreading your tax risk. If you understand that, and then they go validate with their accountant and go, oh, well, your CPA said the same thing my CPA did, you're in a home stretch. Number two, maintain income. Why do you think most landlords bought investment properties, right? Especially if it's a landlord that owned it for 30 years. They bought it for income. They are now probably later in life. That's just how time works. Right. And they're maybe getting a little tired of the daily grind, but they like the income. So you can work a deal if it's the 50, 40, 10 where they walk away with some money. Maybe they want 30%. Great. Do that deal, right? Do a 50, 30, what would that be? 20, whatever it is. But get creative, right? Give them some walk away money and then give them a payment every month. It's surprising how many sellers, like in your example, the deal you're working on will give you below market interest rate.
Right.
I don't know if you guys know this, but 1% is below market. I'm just saying. It just is today. In case that's news to you, but you can get those on seconds. I've done it, right? So yeah, you can get those on first too if the seller has enough equity and trust you, but they got to trust you.
Exactly. The trust factor is really the key because, when you're bringing such a new concept in some cases or something that they're maybe just not comfortable doing in the past, that, you really have to have that trust level there in order for them to, see your vision, I guess, in a sense, to kind of, for you to make it to the finish line because they're still in second position. There are some, risks to that, obviously, but sometimes, the reward offsets the risk in this case. So
yeah, well, let's talk about
especially
that.
with that trust level. So yeah, especially with somebody good credit, So
yeah, let's talk about you're asking somebody to, in this 50, 40, 10 scenario, bet on you.
Right.
But they also are getting a note, right? This note is recorded. It's in my state, it would be a trust deed, a second trust deed. It's a secured position. It is a financial asset. If you have a $200,000 second, 1%, 10-year note, that has value. There are note buyers out there that will buy that. They'll buy it at a discount and all of that, but it is an asset. This is not some handshake bullshit agreement. This is a financial asset. They do have risks, right? If you don't pay and first position foreclosed, the second has a choice. What do they want to do, right? Do they want to foreclose also?
Just like with any bank, in that position.
It's a second loan.
Right.
Yeah,
so innate risks from the seller, obviously, but again, building that trust and presenting your case as far as like, got great credit. I've got several doors under my belt.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. This property will cash flow from day one if you, play ball.
Yeah, if you play, that's why.
Whatever the case is. So
that's why we're doing the
big
deal.
picture, it's win-win for everybody. But you got to do the work and you got to present the right information, effectively to the right person because depending upon what that seller's motivation is, maybe they don't want to carry, even if everything sounds great and all the numbers make sense. Maybe he's got a bad gambling debt. Maybe Guido and Vito are looking for their money or kneecaps are coming with them next time they come by. You know what I mean?
You never know.
Yeah.
And then the final thing you need to talk about, all this is in the course, obviously, is you get to remove the headache. A lot of the people I've done seller financing with, I did a 14-unit package a year or two ago. What was it? 2 fourplexes, a triplex, and 3 houses. He's like, I'm just done. He was proud of him. I remember him driving around showing me and Olivia, we both did this trip. And he's like, okay, we just need to be done. I don't want the phone calls anymore. I want somebody else to take it. And he gave us a deal on value, on interest rate, did the whole thing. It was, and he's happy. He wanted to go take a 6-month cruise or something. He's like, I can't do that with these units. So good for him. So again, folks, seller financing is a process. You, the investor, don't just run out like a shotgun and just fire it. You must invest in yourself. You must understand the pitch. You must be confident. You must be literate. Second, the seller must be in a position where they can say yes. If they don't have equity, they can't say yes. It's not going to work all the time. The lumberjack landlord was working on a deal the other day, and he's like, Michael, this is going to work like 1 out of 20. I'm like, yeah, that seems right. Right? Yeah. It's not for everybody. That's why this hat exists. Do the work. Take your shots. You have deals in flight with One Rental at a Time fans right now that are getting some seller carry, correct?
Oh, 100%. I mean, like we said before, this won't be everything to everybody, but the ones that it does fit, it's working and it's making a huge difference. I mean, we're talking 90% leverage, right? Yeah. Cash flowing day one, whole title's an entity, 30-year money. It's just nuts.
So folks, don't don't write it off. One thing I've learned in life, when especially in real estate, is if you think it's possible, it's possible. And if you think it's not, it's not. That really is on you. Stephen, if somebody wanted to reach out and have this conversation in details about what you could offer them as investors or the seller, how would they do that?
Again, just SDAO@velocitymortgage.com. You just shoot me an email in the subject line, ORAAT for the acronym, one rental at a time. In the body of the email, brief description, what you're looking for, property type, address would be great. If not, city and state, maybe where you're investing in. And then best phone number to reach you at, typically 24, 40 hours, I'll be in touch.
Awesome. Thanks, buddy.
Appreciate you.